typically, an industrial revenue bond can be used to provide a property tax abatement in addition to sales tax exemption. In this case, we have a separate tool, a constitutional abatement that we're using to provide this 55% 10-year abatement here. And so that's the reason for the second agenda item, the second ordinance. This ordinance formally approves the abatement for a 10-year term and authorizes the city to enter a payment in lieu of tax agreement. The payment in lieu of taxes is that 45% that's not abated, and it's in a subsequent slide here, but it's worth noting that the abatement here is not on the land, it's just on the facility, and it's only on the expansion facility. It's not on their existing building. So it's pretty narrowly tailored to the expansion that they've constructed here.
Very good.
We covered the project background previously. Here's some details on the constitutional abatement, but we talked about it being 55% for 10 years. One item to note is that this is consistent with your economic incentive policy. So your incentive policy starts at a 50% abatement. There's a 5% increase for existing businesses, and so 55% is exactly in line with what your policy targets.
Good. Any more questions of Tyler? Not, where do you want to go on item 11B?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner.
I move that we approve the ordinance for Hasty Awards constitutional abatement.
Good. Is there a second on this?
I'll second.
There's a second. Any other discussion on this? Not, let's take a roll call vote, please.
How do you vote, Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
And Mayor Skidmore.
I vote yes too. The motion carries. Thank you, Stephen, very much. Thank you, Tyler.
All right,
Good
thank
work.
you all.
Thank you too for being here. Now you know how to do it, right? That's the right way here. This guy gets good lessons. Thanks, guys. Move on to item C.
City Hall Commission Room Construction Firm Selection.
Request approval to award the recommended bid for the City Hall Commission Room Modernization Project. This follows a comprehensive evaluation of bids received through the formal bidding process.
Good afternoon,
Somewhere
Mayor
here
and
today.
Commissioners.
Commissioner Summers, go ahead.
We'll walk through this. So we had the RFQ earlier this year where we selected Goldberg Group Architects. They came in and solicited feedback from the commission, incorporated that into their design. And so we did an RFP for the construction services of who would build that design in this room. So we had a pretty big meeting that was attended by 9 external representatives, probably 14 people altogether. And then December 6th was the submission deadline. We received 4 bids, and they are listed here. You've had a chance to take a look at those. City staff recommends accepting Lloyd Builders' bid for this project due to their construction timeline of 8 weeks, the competitive pricing, and the work that can align with the quality standards for the millwork. And so I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have about this recommendation. Ideally, we would like action today to accept the bid.
The big thing that jumped out to me was that 16 weeks to get it completed. I mean, that's almost 4 months. I just thought, wow, that's I like the idea that Lloyd Builders can do it in half that amount of time. But the rest of you feel about this?
I know at one point we had a conversation about actually not about raising the ceiling. Did that get knocked out?
Yeah, when they really took a look above the ceiling tiles,
It's
there
just
were
not.
maximum maybe 8 inches of space to really do anything, so they figured that it just wasn't worth it.
Paul, were there other sorry, sir,
No.
were there other contributing factors besides the timeline from the difference of bid 1 and bid 2? Because there's a significant dollar amount difference.
So the
Did bid 1 maybe leave something out, maybe not cover something?
I think, and that's, I tried to explain a little bit here as far as the QCP labels for the Architectural Millwork Institute. They have, like, you can get certified. So if you're certified to install woodworking, and so they noted, the Cohen Construction noted on their bid that it excluded the QCP labels for the millwork. And so I don't know if that is a major, like, I don't know what the cost of having a qualified, certified person on hand to do the millwork. I don't know if that's a factor. I don't know if the timeline is a factor, but there's a significant cost increase for sure.
Well, do you know the amount we had? I think it was 250 for the total budget. Do you know the amount that was kind of earmarked towards construction?
It was, I think we were expecting less than 150, so I think that this will leave, and maybe I have that on my last slide here. This will leave enough for, you know, the audio video upgrades and the other stuff that we're hoping to do.
In the administration line item? I think we
That's like
addressed-
permitting, the publishing the bid, anything like paperwork related, I guess.
Any other questions on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Commissioner.
I move that we approve the construction bid firm selection as listed in item C on the agenda. Item.
Oh, bid number 2 you're talking.
Yes.
Okay. Second on that.
I'll second.
There's a second. Okay. Any other discussion on this? Take a roll call vote, please.
How do you vote, Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen?
Yes.
And Mayor Skidmore?
I'll vote yes too. Motion carries. Thanks. No, it's unintentional.
Thank you.
Unintentional pin
Okay,
throw.
I respect that. I totally respect it either way. We'll move on to item D.
Applications for 2025 cereal malt beverage licenses.
The applications have been reviewed and approved by the police department and the city attorney with no grounds for denial. And Clerk Reed.
It is recommended that the City Commission review and consider the approval of the 2025 cereal malt beverage applications. CMB is defined in Kansas statutes 41-2701, which encompass beer containing not more than 6% alcohol volume when sold by a retailer. We have two different types of licenses. We have on-premise consumption and then not for consumption on-premise. Our application process overview: applications are submitted to the city on an annual basis. They're reviewed by our city attorney and the police department. We also do KBI checks free of charge on all our applicants. The approved applications are reported and appropriate fees are submitted to the Kansas Department of Revenue. And the final step in this process is the City Commission reviews and issues final approval. We have all renewals for this year. We don't have any new applications. So these are all renewals that have had a CMB for 2024. Our financial considerations for a general retailer, so $225 per calendar year, $25 of that goes to the Kansas Department of Commerce. And then our limited retailers are $75 per calendar year with a $25 stamp fee going to the Department of Commerce. And we would recommend that you take final action today to approve the applications or refer these to December 18th for further evaluation. I would just state that their applications or their current licenses do expire December 31st. And so to continue to operate, we would need to make a decision by December 18th in order to continue licensing. And I would stand for any questions.
And the only question I've got for the consumption on the premises, we've got more restaurants that serve alcohol than the 3 here. Those others are not up for renewal. Is that it?
Those 3 just serve cereal malt beverage. So it's the beer under 6%. We have other restaurants that may have a drinking establishment license or a different type of license, and those are regulated individually.
See, I'm pretending like I don't know what you're talking about. So, okay, thank you.
Can you go back to the list of renewals, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just want to see that again. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve 11D on our agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. Any other discussion on this? We'll give the clerk time to get caught up with her All right, let's take a roll call vote, please.
How do you vote, Mayor Pro Tem Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
And Mayor Skidmore?
And I'll vote yes too. That motion carries. So thank you, Clerk Reed, for your work on that. Next item would be E.
Request for approval of temporary building rental for Ottawa Golf Course.
Consider approving the rental of a temporary building for the Ottawa Golf Course to facilitate essential operations and enhance patron services. We have Director Landis.
All right, thank you. So the reason that we're bringing this item to you is, as you know, we take management over of the golf course on December 30th of this year. And once this was authorized for us to move in the direction of that management transition, we gathered a team of our city employees that have some experience and extended knowledge in some of the areas that outside of just myself going and doing a review of the course, the facilities, and the including the clubhouse. And we walked away with some concerns about our timeline and being able to offer that clubhouse to our patrons and golfing community going, in the immediate future of us transitioning on January 15th. Currently, the clubhouse has an extensive need for work, and some of those listed items there is a roof replacement, the deck replacement, interior ceiling and wall replacements, the HVAC systems, more than one, and just ADA compliance in general. And so we looked at this from a necessity and safety standpoint. There are obviously some other upgrades and things that could be done to the clubhouse as well, but these are some of the larger, costlier items. And so we tried to focus on the necessity and safety perspective here. So in our quest to come up with some solutions, a temporary facility to be used as a check-in and to sell concessions and to basically be able to welcome our golfers to the course was one of the solutions that we came up with. And as we started to research, there was a couple of companies that we got quotes from. And while I understand that, so what this is largely a mobile office space, and they use these at multiple golf courses. And essentially, we can use that space within any way we see fit. But we see it as being used for not just office space, obviously, but we would have a need to store items so that we could provide food and drink. That it would have some office space, some storage space, and also maybe a mobile counter that we could serve for check-ins, for concession sales, all of the things that are needed to basically run that operational side that is not related to the grounds maintenance piece of the business. The exterior of the building could include a ramp, the stairs, even pergolas, some tables and chairs out back, those types of things that we could use to enhance the look and feel of the building and the welcoming feel when you arrive to the golf course. And the purpose behind calling this a temporary facility is because this is something that we can bring in fairly short order, and it would give us time to make a decision and proceed with a longer term solution for the clubhouse or replacement of the clubhouse and what we want that area to look like, if we need to do some other design of how we'd like the look and feel of the course itself to be. This gives us time to do those things. At this point, we don't necessarily have a lot of time to do that. So with that in mind, and I wanted to be able to show you, I don't know how to use I'm sorry. So on this drawing, first of all, I want to thank Justin Carey and his crew for doing some of the work on this, which is going out and shooting grade to see if it was even possible, making sure that we located all the utilities to see if it's possible, and then coming up with a solution. This one. Thank you so much. And so we originally had looked at multiple areas, or a couple of different areas around the existing clubhouse to be able to place this. And our best effort comes to this south end of the parking lot right here. And it does limit the number of parking spaces we would have to remove in order to place a temporary building there. It would allow us to go ahead and build a patio behind it onto the green space that is existing. And they will be able to extend with the addition of one light pole, and then they will have to do some boring under the parking lot for the sewer to be able to place that there as well. Those are basically the items that come with placing it there and using this location. The idea then would be that the current clubhouse would be not open to the public. We would do what's necessary to basically not be able to access the existing deck, and those would be the immediate alterations that would be made that your current members or current users of the golf course would see as different at this point. When we went and got these quotes, there's two of them. I believe it's United and Satellite, and the one that was the lower number was the $29,900, and that is for 1 year's worth of rental. There is an upfront fee for delivery and the setup of the facility, and then our crews would take the charge of building the rest. Of course, we could rent the rest, we could purchase the rest, but we have some incredibly talented crews that can do a lot of the work, and so we were able to use that to basically lower the amount of cost that we would have up front. So with all of that said, happy to answer questions. And as far as timeline goes, of course, we do we transition our management on December 30th. We have a 2-week period in which we are changing over, and we'll be basically back open to the public on January 15th. And so we would be shooting for bringing in that temporary building between in that time frame. I cannot get outside of that. I have not gone to visit a building. I did receive a few other pictures, but we would want to make sure that it would be a facility that would be welcoming and something that we could work with the space inside of and all of those things. But we wanted to bring it to you first to make sure that we could move in that direction.
Good.
So the delivery and setup fee, is there also at the back end also a fee for
That's
removal?
included in that number. So they charge it as a one-time upfront fee, and that includes delivery, setup, tear down, and removal.
Okay.
So that would basically you're paying up front for that removal.
And it doesn't matter how many years you have it. I mean, if we don't happen to have it done in a year, still.
Correct. And they actually charge based on 30 days. For us, it wouldn't make sense to pay the one-time upfront fee and only keep it for 30 days. I wouldn't think, but if we decided it's a year and 3 months, it could be that as well. It could be 3 years. It could be whatever we want that to be.
Director Landis, so will the existing clubhouse not be in use anymore, or just in use to the golf patrons, or not in use to the golf patrons?
Not in use to the golf patrons.
The caterer will still be using it?
We would anticipate that would continue for a period of time.
And is this so that we can kind of get a game plan together of what we want to do for a new building, or are we looking at
Yes.
renovation of the existing one?
I do not have a grand total of renovation of the existing, but the recommendation would be a new building that would replace the existing.
I'm glad you said that, because if it was my opinion, I'd certainly lean more towards that direction too. I just think that it's maybe too far gone to put that kind of money into a renovation instead of just starting fresh.
Yes.
One other question, is the new building insured for stray golf balls? Because where you're putting it, they can tend to get past that one green.
That's a great question. We will have to talk about that, but we will work with our risk manager to
Okay.
make sure that we have
No
the proper
concern.
No,
insurance.
not because of me, I
I've
promise.
been banned, so it's no concern. Yeah.
Okay, Mike's
All right.
good.
I've been banned. All right. Good. Any other questions on this topic?
One question I had sent to me was, does this essentially include, is there a need for a contractor to come in because we're erecting a structure, we're attaching utilities to it? I guess somebody basically kind of had a concern in is that included in this delivery and set up for either what a pad that it's going to sit on, or how does that, done by us, done by them? And kind of how that works in terms of kind of that process.
So they would serve as I might need to to come back to you with that answer, but in my conversations with our neighborhood services department and what that permit looks like, because we're bringing in a temporary building, the connection of the utilities and that would need a contractor to apply for that permit, and we are working on what that would look like, and we may have the opportunity we need to research the opportunity to use our contracted employees, our employees that have licenses, to be able to apply as that contractor. And then we also need to research a little bit how that works for the bringing in of the temporary building. So they're really two parts.
Yeah.
So the building of some sort of patio to accompany the building, and then the pad for the building and the
Yeah, because that
however
area,
that
there's
works.
a decent slope. If you're running east
There
to
is.
west there.
Yes,
kinda what
there
that
is.
grade would kinda look like if it's.
Yes.
Do you know, is it on like slab? Is it almost like, is it on cinder blocks, kind of similar to, you see with, do you have any details around that, or is it?
I don't know what happens underneath of there,
Okay.
but I can tell you that we've talked about a skirting that you would typically see under a mobile facility like that, that we would upgrade that to basically match the facade of the facility and to make it look nicer and be more sturdy in the wind, all of those things. I cannot tell you what happens behind
Yeah.
that skirting.
So we feel pretty good on the dollar amount, that we're not going to have large chunks come kind of in the process from some of those other kind of tertiary things.
Yeah, so we had known that there was going to be other costs for around the clubhouse, the other things that need to happen, and we had built into our budget. Now, keep in mind, we're going to be reworking that budget on a daily basis as we get into this, but we had built some dollars into our expectations for that, knowing that we were going to have to go do some sort of improvements somewhere. And so those costs, I mean, we're guessing that it could be somewhere around the $20,000 range if we did a pergola with the patio and the type of patio and the size of patio and what type of ramp, and if you did some sort of entryway, whatever, to the front of the facility. We could make that whatever we want within the budgeted dollars that we might have available to do that. And so we have some flexibility there, I guess, if you will, but those dollars were kind of built into we know there's something we need to do, and now we're at the point where this would be an option of what we can do.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that's
Does
on
that
top
answer?
of these two numbers.
That what?
That's on top of the 29.9 and 12.
It is.
Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions of Director Landis? Not direct, what direction you want to go on item 11E?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner,
I move that we approve item E on our agenda.
okay, is there a second on this?
I'll second.
There's a second. Any other discussion?
Melody, do you know, kind of what's a lifespan of something like this? Say we get to the point that, as we're doing the golf course, we kind of realize that our version of temporary is a little longer term temporary. Would this stay for 5 years, 10 years? If structurally, I guess when it's built, if it stays longer than 3 years, is there kind of a rough time frame where we may need to send this back and get a new one? How would that kind of look longer term if it ends up staying?
So along the lines of the question of could we send it back and get a new one, we could do that, and we would have that one-time expense again. I will need to go to our permitting process and ask some questions about the length of time that temporary means and what that looks like long-term, and at what point it becomes a permanent facility and what that process looks like. So I'm sorry, I
No,
can't
that's-
answer that for you right
That's
now.
why I was just thinking, back in the day, in middle school, moved to portable structures. That length of time kind of like lengthened unexpectedly. And
Yeah.
if that happens here, kind of what does that look like over a decade or potentially longer?
Well, and I will tell you that when we started looking at other golf courses, there are lots of successful courses that use a building exactly like this as their permanent structure for long term, without the intent of doing anything else. So we haven't had that conversation yet because we need to do more deep dive into what that would look like.
I think I've seen these at Augusta, haven't I? Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not, maybe not, no, probably not.
Is this a new structure? Or it's been used in other?
It would be new.
Okay. What direction you want to go? Well, I guess that was the discussion
Yeah,
part. Let's
sorry.
go ahead and take a roll call vote, please. There we go.
How do you vote, Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
and Mayor Skidmore.
I'll vote yes too. That motion carries. Thanks.
Thank you.
Move on to item F. I guess I'll take care of that part. So anyway, I just want to say thank you for your support. I really do believe we work in a collaborative effort up here, the five of us. We want to enact and bring forward to the people good policy, good ordinances, ones that we are proud of, as well as benefit the people. The people are themselves are the ones that voted us in. They can vote us out. And so I appreciate the fact that we respect that process, and it works as far as I'm concerned. So we've had good days, we had bad days. But that goes with any job, right? So can't complain about that. I've been reading through the Psalms recently, and a chapter a day is really good. Just a recommendation for everybody. I'm up to about 100, but a couple weeks ago I read Psalm 90, verse 17. It said this: Lord our God, treat us well. Give us success in what we do. Yes, give us success in what we do. And that's been my prayer since that day I read that, and I'll keep praying that direction for not only just today, but for our future. So it's been a great run. Thank you all for your support. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have a plaque for you, and it says, in appreciation to Mike Skidmore for his service as mayor, January 2024 to January 2025.
Thank you very much. And with that, I am very pleased to make a motion that we will move Pro Tem Emily Allen up to the mayor's position. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. No discussion on this necessary, I guess. Let's go by vote of acclamation. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. I'm going to scoot down one chair. Personal effects. Yeah. Pardon. Oh.
Right. We'll do your oath of office. If you could repeat after me. Raise your hand. I state your name.
I, Emily Allen,
Solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Kansas,
of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of mayor
the duties of mayor
of the City of Ottawa, Kansas.
of the City of Ottawa, Kansas. God, so help me God. I just have a few quick comments. I'll keep it short and sweet. I had a root canal this morning, and I didn't think it would be too bad, and it was indeed too bad. So I would like to thank the citizens for electing me a few years ago back into this seat as commissioner. It is a job that I never have taken lightly and that I will never take lightly. I'd also like to thank my fellow commissioners for trusting me to be your mayor. You can rest assured I'll give it my all for both you and our citizens. And since I'm kind of treating this like an Oscar speech, I'll also thank my family for giving up their time with me so that way I can be here every week and sometimes several times a week. To my kids, I hope this is just a little view of what you can do on your own if you just try. Thank you for being my little commission partners who used to sit under my desk and who always kept me on my toes. You're now driving cars on the roads that we discussed years ago in those meetings, and that makes me proud and a little scared. I have served as commissioner for over 6 years in total, and I've seen a lot of changes in our city over that time. From changes in staff to improvements to buildings and roads and businesses coming and going. Through all of this, I've had the opportunity to learn from some of the very best mayors that anybody could have. They've literally paved the road before me, and I will follow in your steps. I'll end on a quick quote because I want to remind you this is not just about us up here, it's about all of Ottawa. Ronald Reagan once said, "The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one who gets the people to do the greatest things." So let's do great things, and thank you. Oh, and that's me now. Okay. So we'll move to item J.
City Commission nomination and election of Mayor Pro Tem for the 2025 term.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner.
initially, first of all, forgive me if during the year I happen to say Mr. Mayor. I'm kind of used to that for a while. But Madam Mayor, I'd like to make the nomination that we elect Commissioner Clayton as our Mayor Pro Tem.
We have a second.
I will second.
And we are going to vote by acclamation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Commissioner Clayton? Pro Tem Clayton? You
I don't
have,
think he voted one way or the other. And I was looking to see if he was
don't
going
know
to
if
vote
you're-
yay or nay. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Do you not want to be?
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
you can say no, absolutely.
But it still passes.
You got no choice now.
The oath of office. Raise your right hand and after me. I state your name.
I, Zachary Clayton,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
States
and the Constitution
of the State of Kansas
and faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
of Mayor Pro Tem
of Mayor Pro Tem
of the City of Ottawa, Kansas.
of the City of Ottawa, Kansas.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
and we have item L, comments by our newly appointed Mayor Pro Tem.
I think I was I didn't write a speech, to thank the Academy. I should have thought about that. First and foremost, I do want to thank the folks at this dais, the dais around us, and all the city staff. Coming in new to this a few years ago, it was really daunting and scary. They say it's drinking from a fire hose, and you think you know a lot about what goes on at a city and what should happen at a city. We all have great ideas on things that we want to change when we see, and then you get up here, and I think there's so much information that you can learn by people being involved. So I appreciate everyone who's been a part of that for me. I appreciate the dad jokes from, will say now Commissioner over there. I'm trying to learn and keep those going as well. Like Emily mentioned, this is working towards good policy, leaving a legacy for the city of Ottawa, and doing the best that we can every day. So thank you to everyone a few years ago who voted for me to get me into the seat that now is in Pro Tem. I look forward to kind of working every single day for the next year, keep us moving forward. Oh, and my family. Sorry, I add that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
your-
yeah,
Your
them.
new wife.
Yeah, new wife.
New
Yeah,
wife. Thanks.
Sorry, of course then.
We have item 12.
Comments by City Manager.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, we have the Old Highway 50 Improvement Project ribbon cutting forthcoming, and so if you're interested, please let us know. And that's tomorrow. Also, some highlights for the OMA. We got Jersey Boys starting in 2025, or Jersey Nights, I apologize, and the City Band and their Christmas concert on December 15th at 2 p.m. with free admission at the OMA. And want to highlight that we'll have 2 back-to-back holidays on December 25th and January 1st. And so we'll have a pretty stacked meeting on the 18th and then plan on returning on January 8th. However, if we do need any sort of special meeting or action that might arise unexpectedly, we'll utilize our Monday study sessions as a potential window. And with that, we'll go over that agenda on the 18th, which is the financial report, project overview, community partner funding agreements, development plan for Fairway Vistas RHID that was recently approved, the ordinance adopting the development plan, and then a presentation of Constantino's generous gift to Hope House and ECAN, and then we'll also have the annual TIF consideration for the Holiday Inn. And so that concludes my report, if there are no questions of myself or another member of the city team.
Any questions?
Oh, I did want to save one thing and say that while we're on the golf course, I didn't have a chance to prepare a slide, but we have extended an offer and it has been accepted for the position of golf pro. This individual is a native of Linden and Ottawa University, and he's excited to return to the area as he has a strong connection to this area and to the community with a deep understanding of Ottawa's golf course and the significance it brings to our community. He has previously served as associate golf professional at Iron Horse Golf Club, and he's held leadership roles in such esteemed courses as Millburn Country Club and Oakwood Country Club. And we're excited to welcome Rob Linar, who will begin serving with us on December 20th of this year. Thanks.
And we have item 13.
Comments by governing body?
Start with Commissioner Crowley.
Just want to say congratulations to you and Mayor Pro Tem Clayton. Look forward to serving with you guys in your capacities this year.
And Commissioner Skidmore.
Yes, I would echo that same thing too. I've known Emily for a long time. I've known her parents for a long time as well, and so I know she's got good bloodlines, and so you can't miss on this one. So I know you got it covered. I want to say too, the last few months I've had a lot of legal questions. Our attorney Finch has been really helpful with me. They've all been city related, of course, but he's been very helpful in answering a lot of questions for me, quick responses. You know, 99% of the attorneys out there make the rest of you look bad. And you're a good one. So congratulations on that. Keep it up and good work. I appreciate it, really do. And I also want to mention tonight, the OU is having the Vespers at 7 p.m. If I get there in time, I'll be reading some scripture there. But tonight at 7 p.m. at the chapel at OU.
Commissioner Taylor.
Congratulations to the person to my left and to the person to my right. Excited to see how you grow as leaders in the next year.
Mayor Pro Tem Clayton.
Yeah, just thank you. And then obviously congratulations to our new mayor. Excited to work hand in hand with you this next year. I did want to follow and say that Brian's comments about the golf course were pretty on par with what we expected.
No,
Oh,
so
no,
bad.
I wanted to say it earlier.
So bad.
Can I take my vote back?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I think it was your motion, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've made bad decisions.
it's done now. It's in the minutes. And then I want to wish a happy birthday to my son, who's turning 5, and I'm late for his birthday party.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Just get used to
oh,
it.
we're getting there.
Get used to it.
I don't have much other than just look forward to lots of questions from me. I'll be emailing you all soon, I'm sure, with what do I do. And with that, we have our announcements. We have December 18th, 2024 commission meeting at 10 a.m. in City Hall. We have canceled our December 25th and January 1st commission meetings, and our next one is January 8th. After that at 4 p.m. in City Hall. And if there's